Glenn Miller was an American big band trombonist, arranger, composer, and band leader. Popular during the swing era, he was the best-selling recording artist from 1939 to 1943, leading one of the best-known big bands and searching for his own. You get to hear that again a little later. As Old Glory marches on is a historical suite of American songs, recounting the creation of the flag of the United States of America. This suite contains 6 movements with narration in between. Following a patriotic intro, the narration walks you through the birth and creation of our nation's flag. Join us now as we recount the battles that shaped our nation, including the Revolutionary War, Mexican War, Civil War, and the Spanish-American War. Closing out this suite is a solo trumpet rendition of To the Colors, followed by a full ensemble entrance with a soaring trumpet obbligato.
To decide where to start in recounting a history of the flag of these United States. The first flags used in colonial America were those of England. Even after the colonies were in open rebellion against the home country, the Union Jack of England was still incorporated as a part of the colonial battle flag. Several flags were created here in America to be offered as the official standard of our embattled ancestors. One that was popular in the New England colonies was the Bunker Hill flag, which consisted of a blue field with a white canton bearing the English symbol of the Cross of St. George and the hardy pine tree, which was symbolical of the New Englanders. In the southern colonies, the various forms of the rattlesnake flags were popular. Benjamin Franklin favored one of these. He defended its selection as our national emblem because the serpent is traditionally wise. The rattlesnake always gives warning before it strikes. It increases the number of its rattles with age, and it is found only in North America. The Gadsden flag was most widely accepted. It consisted of a yellow field on which a rattlesnake was coiled above the inscription, "Don't tread on me." But the flag finally selected as the battle standard of the colonial army was the Grand Union flag. It had the same 13 red and white stripes as our flag of today, but in place of the blue field and white stars, it had a small replica of the Union Jack of England. The Declaration of Independence was signed at Philadelphia on the 4th of July, 1776. The flag that flew over General Washington's headquarters in New York when that document was read to him 5 days later was this Grand Union flag. The British Union Jack in the upper left-hand corner was to indicate that the colonists were fighting for their rights as Englishmen. After the Declaration of Independence, this symbolism was no longer suitable. So in June of 1777, the Continental Congress adopted the following, quote, "Resolved that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white. That the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation." Tradition says that Betsy Ross had been commissioned to make a flag according to these specifications. It was under such a flag that General Washington received the surrender of Cornwallis at Yorktown. Under both of these flags, the colonial troops marched to a militant hymn called Chester, and to the famous fife tune called Yankee Doodle. Eminent authorities say that the latter tune was played at the Yorktown surrender ceremonies. We will hear these two numbers after a trumpet salute to the memory of General Washington. The states of Vermont and Kentucky were admitted to the Union of the original 13 states in the years 1791 and 92, respectively. Their representatives in Congress immediately asked that the number of stars and stripes in the flag of the United States be increased to recognize their admission to statehood. In 1794, the Congress enacted a law to effect that beginning on May 1st, 1795. There should be 15 stars and 15 stripes in the flag. This was the flag that flew over Fort McHenry when Francis Scott Key was inspired to write the Star-Spangled Banner. By 1818, 5 more states had been admitted to the young nation. Since the addition of more stripes to the flag was impractical, the Congress of that year passed a law declaring that the new states should be recognized, as should all states thereafter be admitted to the Union, by the addition of stars, but the stripes should be returned to the original 13. By 1846, the state of the Union and the stars in the flag had become 28 in number. And that year, these colors were carried into the Mexican War by troops singing "Remember the Alamo" and other songs about the heroism of the people of Texas in their struggle with Mexico. following the principle of every star a state and every state a star, 6 more stars appeared in the growing constellation within the next 15 years, making their number 34 at the beginning of the Civil War. At this time, the Northern troops carried the Stars and Stripes, and the Southern troops fought under the Stars and Bars of the Confederacy. Some songs of that conflict were sung on both sides of the lines of battle, but 2 were as opposed in spirit as their banners. They were Dixie and the Battle Cry of Freedom. The band will now play a short overture composed of these 2 numbers. Within 37 years, 11 more states had been admitted to the United States of America, and 45 stars now shown in the blue field. When we entered the Spanish-American War in 1898, this banner was carried by men singing songs revived from the Civil War days. 2 of the most popular were When Johnny Comes Marching Home and Tramp, 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 the Boys Are Marching. In 1907, Oklahoma changed from a territory to a state. And in 1912, New Mexico and Arizona did the same thing, bringing the number of stars to the flag to 48. In 1959, in January, Alaska added the 49th star. That flag didn't last very long because just 7 months later, in August of that same year, Hawaii put the 50th star on the flag that we know today. Among the traditions that surrounding our flag, the most glorious by far is the fact that Old Glory has led us to victory throughout the years. Throughout World War I, the continuation of that conflict, which we call World War II, every branch of the armed forces of the United States has distinguished itself under the Stars and Stripes.